well, I want to say that you're absolutely right, Ellen. I mean, books changed my life. I
Hmm.
mean, in a dramatic way. I mean, I was a young kid, 21 years old, started reading some Anthony Robbins books and Tom Hopkins books and found some really good mentors. Next thing you know, 7 years later, I was financially independent. So I've had I've been financially free since I was 28. And so
Oh God, you're
there's
so
no
lucky. I didn't
question.
even start till I was 51.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I literally, I mean, I've been living just an amazing lifestyle for almost 2 decades now. It's just
Hmm.
unbelievable. And but so what you're saying is completely the truth. I mean, these books, these
Yeah.
words, these, chapters, they were so impactful to a kid that, didn't grow up with a lot of money, didn't come from, the greatest environment as a young child. And so it was, and of course, now I was a bad kid. I got bad grades. Always got in trouble, lots of fights growing up. And so
I'm
when I
telling
read
you,
these
you
books,
guys are always the ones that do it. It's
um,
amazing.
it's unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, I do. I quit college. Just went rogue style, went to be an entrepreneur. And, I
Yeah.
woke up a few years later, but I think I was just so coachable. I just
Mm.
followed all these books and followed what they showed. I'm very coachable. Like somebody tells me to do something that I trust them, that they know what they're talking
Me
about.
too.
Like,
Me
yeah,
too.
I'll just do it. I mean,
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
not, I don't need to reinvent the wheel, man. I just want to
I
win. I just
agree.
want to be successful. Right.
But think about how many billionaires quit school. A lot of
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And
And
the thing
so,
that really sucks is as a good kid who did what I was told and got really good grades, you get in the real world and you're like, crap, it was
right.
all bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Totally. And that's, by the way, that's a big piece of my book, is kind of the call to action, or the message is I'm trying to get people out of that thinking, is the
Mhm.
9 to 5 rat race.
Mhm.
Corporate America is a nightmare for most people.
Yeah.
And I'm
Well, that's what,
trying
yeah.
to really get people to see that. And as an entrepreneur, as somebody that did it, I really want to help people. And by the way, and look, and critique me all you want, but my title, and that's of course the
Oh,
podcast,
uh-huh.
is it's called Wealth on the Beach.
Yeah,
And
no,
so
that's cute. Yeah.
the subtitle I haven't completely figured out yet, but anything come to your mind as a subtitle? Anything? Wealth on the beach, get out of the 9 to 5 rat race, or
Yeah. I
whatever.
mean,
So who knows?
that is what your book is about. So it will be something like that.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Okay.
Yeah. But
So
you see,
so
wealth on the beach, again, it's kind of a saying that just hooks you emotionally, right? Because that's what people want. They want to be wealthy and be sitting on the beach. So, but it's hard sometimes to explain that to people. It's like I talk about titles all day long and people still send me these titles that are just so off the mark. It's like some people just, I don't know, they don't get it. They don't get it, you know?
yeah, you're right. I mean, it is a little bit. Obviously, I have a lot of palm trees in my house, and although I'm not on the actual physical beach,
Mhm.
it was kind of a play on words, in the sense that we all want to be free, and that's kind of the
Yeah.
visual, that you're on a beach and you're
Mm,
wealthy and
right,
you're free.
right.
But you could like the mountains, and it's the same. It means the same thing, and I'll
Right, but the
probably
point
explain.
is that your title, Wealth on the Beach, it conjures up a certain feeling in people.
Right.
And that's what a great title does. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy.
Good for
Okay.
you.
All
Yay.
right. So, okay. So let's. I was going to ask you before, is when people think, because there are people that they want to write a book, but they don't know what to write about. So
Mhm.
give us your thoughts on that one.
Well, I work with people who are already helping people, right? So,
Okay.
but even so, this is so crazy to me. I was just talking to a client of mine who's now become a colleague, and we're going to do something together. But, talking about how like people have a book and it doesn't even occur to them that they can turn it into a coaching program, or they have a coaching program and it doesn't occur to them they can turn it into a book, or they're working with clients one-on-one and it doesn't even occur to them that they could do the whole book coaching and get out of the, time for money kind of deal. So I'll never forget, this guy comes to me and he goes, I don't know what to write about. And I go, well, how do you help people now? And he just starts rattling off his process for how he works with people one-on-one. I go, that's your book. But for some reason, so many people just don't make the connection. It's hard for me to understand, but.
Do you think it's scary for people though? Because there's a lot of people right now listening. And by the way,
Yeah.
the audience that we're tapping into right now they're all small business owners. They're all,
Yeah.
they're all, they have little businesses. They're making anywhere from $50,000 a year up to $1 million a year. They're
Mhm.
kind of they're small business entrepreneurs. But I always tell them, like, look, you need a book, you need a podcast, you need to get more eyeballs on your brand so
Right.
people can get to know you. Like, people
Right.
don't know you. That's why you don't get more businesses.
Right. But
People don't know
here's what
you.
I have found for me was when I started, nobody was doing what I was doing. I was the first one. And I didn't have to know much because people were just flocking to me. But as the internet changed and more people got into the space, then you have to go, okay, how do I explain how I'm different? And I really spent, we rebranded a couple of years ago, because what was happening was, I started out as the ebook coach, but in the early days, people saw ebooks and books as different. And now it's like we do one book and we just put it in different formats, right? So we needed to change that. And again, see, I didn't know about doing the research in the early days, and I didn't know that there's like 3 times more people looking for books than ebooks. That wasn't a bad thing, and as I said, when I started, because it was new, digital was new, and people were looking for that, so it was okay. But we rebranded, and then I spent 2 years but just working on, how do I say what I do? How do I explain to people that I'm different? It's not something that you get overnight. You have to keep refining it and working on it. And as Jill Lublin says, what is it like? Look at your biography like every 90 days, because you grow, you change, you get more things, something happens, you get an award, something happens, you're on some amazing show. So you have to keep everything up to date, and so that's really important. And so it's not just getting visibility, because there have been times when I was out there and just feeling like, God, I'm just getting nothing, like why? And I get really upset with some of these people on Twitter. It's like, oh, well, just work hard for 6 months and it'll happen. No, not necessarily. It's like, you've got to have all the pieces. And the other thing I will say is that one thing that's really changed my the way that I pursue my business is that in the early years, I spent a ton of money on coaches and all this kind of stuff. I spent about 70 or 80,000 the first couple of years. But I wasn't making that much yet. Till I got to the 3rd year, I made a 6-figure income. But I had so much debt because I'd gotten a small business loan, and then they call it in very quickly and they want really high numbers. I highly suggest not doing that, but I didn't know. And so what happened is like after that, and then everything changed, I was angry and I was bitter because I spent all this money and it was now kind of worthless, like nothing was working. And I thought, well, I'm helping all these other people. How come I can't help myself? And I go, well, I got to try. So then I tried to be my own coach. That does not work at all, because you can't see what you can't see. It's so much easier to do it for other people. And then finally, it was like, I was at the point where, am I going to quit, or am I going to start investing in myself again, because nothing is working? And clearly I made the decision to invest in myself. But what happened was that I had a mentor who told me I should start a podcast. This was actually 2018. That was when I hit like another really rock bottom. I just had enough. I was burned out. And it wasn't like I wasn't making money. My last client had paid me 15 grand, but I was just like over it all. And it wasn't a pleasant experience. He ended up not being very nice. So I had a lot of soul searching, like, okay, what am I going to do? you have that fear of, well, if I don't take the client when I need the money, what am I going to do? And not realizing that if you just let that go, better people will come in. Like, it's really scary to let go when things are bad. And that's exactly when you need to let go, right? That's exactly when you need to hire a coach. And so at that point, I scraped together the money to do one coaching call, and he told me to start the podcast. So I started the podcast, but the thing was, I still didn't have the money to get help at that point. And so what I did was I did it on my own and following what he had told me. And I was just like miserable. I spent 9 months on this thing. It didn't feel like it was what the topic I wanted, the way I wanted to, say it, the title, just the whole thing just felt icky, And so I ended up dumping it. And then I started my podcast, which is now my podcast. We've just done 101 episodes and I've done about 21 trainings. Thank you. And, since 2018, but that was the wake up call to, I don't want to waste 9 months because I don't want to hire somebody, and I will do whatever I have to do to hire people. Well, I got really lucky because COVID hit and there was training everywhere, and actually I'd started before that. I started in January in 2020. And like I said, I never learned really the business. I mean, I had come in at such a great time. It had just come to me. I didn't have to do anything. I just did what I do. And so I started doing that. But then there was so much training. I started going to these free challenges, and taking a few courses. And I stayed within my budget. I mean, first of all, we had gone bankrupt years ago from medical stuff. And so I didn't, and I'd lost all my credit and all that. So for all those years in there where I was kind of sitting, I didn't have any means to get out of it. So I just had to wait it out. And that's what I did until I could build up my credit again. I could get credit cards. And then I started all over again, just, taking the courses. But now the difference is now I know exactly what I'm doing. I know where I need to go. I know which ones are just shiny objects and which ones are what I actually need to accomplish the next thing I want to accomplish. And then again, being supplemented with all these challenges and 3-day events that were cheap, like $197 to get the VIP, I'm in, So there was a lot of stuff like that. And then doing what you can do, like a lot of these high-end courses, 15,000, 20,000, 50,000. It's like, no, I'm not, I almost got into one. And then it was like, no, not because, I would have found a way if I really had wanted it, but I realized that really wasn't what I wanted. And I had kind of gotten caught up again in the, in the community of it.
Thank you for watching our short clips on Alonzo Academy. If you'd like to watch the next short clip, click here. If you'd like to watch the entire podcast, click here.